Hey, what's up? So let's take a look at these actions. So these are meant to like aid you with animating in Photoshop. As you know that it's very tedious already, so let's get into it without any ado. Okay, this is the first one. So these are very nicely arranged in categories and stuff. So first one is the setup category, and as you can see, the first one is setup for animation. To demonstrate this, we'll have to make a new canvas or PSD document. So like default PSD document for Photoshop is not very like family friendly with is not very friendly with animation. So like you have to set up like a bunch of things. So not anymore though. You can click on you can just go to timeline, create the video timeline, and then you just have to click on this button and this will do the rest for you. So we have this safe area which is 1080p. It is very obvious that you need to have your PSD document bigger than 1080p for this to work, or you can just delete it if you don't want it. So the next thing it does is that it sets the frame to 24 fps, and it also creates a video layer with a default frame in it. So like in order to work this, let me just reduce this size. Now it's 6, I like it 10. You also need these two plugins which are free, and the link is in my description. So once you have this, okay, we have Anim Dasin, and so these are two free plugins. I don't use them like that much. I just use like these basic nice buttons. So let's zoom it in, and we have this first frame, and then we click on this, and now we have second frame, and we can turn on and off the onion skin from here. Okay, and you can see that there's onion skin button right here, and this is different from this, and we'll get to that later in the video. Let's just take a look at this first. So this is our second frame, and click on this. This is our third frame, and while we're on the frames, let's get this color label out of the way. So these are just simple labels. So you select a layer, or in this case a frame, and you can set them to like a specific thing. And you can set the colors without this, but you have to like go to this and then select this. These are not very colorful either, so this is better. And okay, so the next one is create safe area. If we delete this original, so this just creates a safe area. This is simply an explanation. Crop the safe area. This crops the safe area like so. And the next one is set to frame 1. You can just you need to have the frame that you're going to add the frame next to needs to be active. So if we activate this frame, and let's delete these two extra layers, and if we activate this frame, you can just add a new layer, and then you can just set it to 1. So this replaces this, and you can, the bonus point is like you can skip the add layer step by just going into by disabling this button mode from the options, and find the set frame to 1 frame and press record, and then you just add a new layer, and there you have it. Okay, and we need to move this up to that. So like we have this. Okay, now that we edited that, and now if you click on this, yeah, so this is the thing that it does. So you don't need that anymore, but yeah. Now that I think of it, it's not that important, except for this hide and show button. So let's get to the next category, which is video layers. So first of all, frames are just simple and don't need any explanation if you know about video layers. So this just adds a video layer. If you show the timeline, and add a new so if you don't know about the video layer, it is just a simple layer with multiple frames in it. So you can do it like this. So for video layer, let's make this blue, and see this is the single frame for video layer, and see this and see this. So this is like that. So you might be thinking like, why don't we use this instead of that? Simply because this does not have any keyframe concept in it. You can add frames in between, but it's not very good, and you cannot adjust the exposures and stuff, and these are just some of the things that are wrong with this for animating. So we can just skip that. Okay, so that creates a new frame, that deletes a frame, and that duplicates a frame. That's a simple thing. And okay, to demonstrate these two functions, which are very useful, and these are the main like focus of this video, like these are the star of this videos. of this video. To demonstrate these three, let's add a new video layer and let's animate a bowl, simple bowl without any gaps, so make sure that you don't have any gaps in it. Okay, now that we have this line layer, we can set this layer, which is line. You can set this to line, or you can just manually rename this, but these are just to like slow down you, like you don't have to type it manually. And then we'll add another new video layer which is supposed to be blank, which we can set this to fill. We can like note can, we should set this to fill. Let's disable the onion skin. And now what you want to do is you want to select the fill color that you want to fill in, and once you have that, you can click on fill and move forward, fill and move forward, fill and fill, and like that. So this is what's going on. There could be like glitches in it, and you can DM me about this on Instagram, snowfixart @snowfixart. Okay, let's move on to markers. So like these two are same thing, and I don't wanna, let's skip the first two because they are the same as this one. So this is intended to be used on rough layers. So let's say we have rough animation. Let's delete these. Not like we're not going to do rough animation for this. Let's say we have a rough sketch of a character, and we can click on set as guide, and it should automatically create a new layer for us as well, which we can just do right now. Okay, so now let's retry that. Delete that. Okay, now if we press on set as guide, this locks the current layer. Set the opacity to like 24 or 30. Yeah, it's set the opacity to 24% and creates a new layer on top and activates that layer, so that you can just click on press that button and start cleaning up your character. So that's how you do it. Okay, let's clear that. And for reset guide, you can just click on this and this will revert all the changes. We can just delete this, but I'm going to leave it in there because I already have this backed up and uploaded on Gumroad, which means okay, I might have to redo that anyways. So okay, so these are just opacity presets. So this just sets the opacity to 30% and this sets the opacity back to 100%. Okay, now this one is interesting. So this one is moved to layer. This one is moved to a new layer. You can just click on this. This will move to this to a new layer. Let's redo that. And this copies it to the new layer. If you hide that, yeah. So this is that. Copy and flip. So if we have this, I'm sorry. So copy and flip. This just copies and flip the drawing. Like this can be useful in some cases. And next one is flatten, and we get to these two. Hey, that's the editing me. So the actions that I just skipped, previous frame and next frame, are meant to be used with the animation. Since we are not animating currently, so I'm just skipping it and we'll save this for later. Okay, now this is flatten and duplicate. For the practical use of this action, let's say you have a group with 300 layers and you want to create a blurry version of that on top of everything else, and you can click on this and this will duplicate all the layers and then merge them into a single layer. Very useful, huh? Okay, the next ones are filler layers. So yeah, this is the actual start of the video. In this category, actions with A in start of them are for animation and the rest of them are for illustration. Okay, so let's say I have a face. And I want to fill this. I can just select a foreground color. I always forget that it's a background or foreground, so we'll just, and fill selection, you need to have something selected to fill it in. Let's say we want to fill this selection. Okay, we don't want it to be contiguous. Okay, now if we click on fill selection, so this just fills the selection. This does two things. This expands the selection by 2 pixels, or I think it expands it by a single pixel, and then it fills in the foreground color in it, like behind the line, so it sets the blending mode to behind. Okay, now fill closed. So this like this is meant to be used with inverted selections. So like if I'm selecting the outward and I want to fill in that, you can fill in like this as well. Okay, fill closed on a new layer. So the same thing as this, but in this section, same thing as this, but in this section it creates a new layer and then fills the color on that. So like this. Whoops, it didn't do that, but okay. So you need to have a different thing in there. I think it has selection. Yeah, I'm not sure about this, but like yeah, give me a break here. Give me a break, man, because like I created them like a year ago, and then I stopped using Photoshop and switched to Blender permanently, but I had to put them out because I worked very hard on them. So this is my story, and I'll stop talking now. Okay, now this is fill gap for animation. Let's get a fill gap for just a regular illustration. First of all, we all know that Photoshop does not have any like gap detection system, so if there's a single pixel of gap left in a drawing, the color will leak out. So let's say I've intentionally left this gap, and let's color them in. Okay, now we have this gap and this gap. So and we have these gaps as well. So let's try to fill them without this section. So normally we do what we would do is that we create a new layer and we select a color, then we click in and it spills out. So let's try filling the color with this section. So the first thing you need to do is select your layer with the line art, and then you just simply click on this, and you can select this expand value. So this means that how much tolerance should be there for the gaps, like how bigger the gap can, like you know. So if you have like bigger gaps in drawing like I have, you can set this to a bigger value. If you have like very small gaps, you can set this to a small value, like 5 or like even 3, I don't know, or 50 maybe. So I'm gonna keep this on 20 and this, and there we have it. So it has automatically detected these gaps, this and this. So let's delete this, add a new video group, and let me just animate a ball. So this is a ball in a sock, okay, nothing else. Yeah, nice and sweet. Okay, now if we play this, yeah, so now that you have the line thing, let's name this line, and let's name this fill, not final, just fill, and bring this downwards a bit. And now, okay, now the next step is you have to have the same frames as your line drawing. So we'll just click on this a couple of times, yeah, just like that. Now we'll go to the first frame. Now since we're using a different layer for fill than the line layer, we'll use fill gap on new layer. And if we were to, you know, fill the colors on the same layer as line, we'll use that, and make sure the frames are all lined up, and all of the frames need to be a single exposure, because you know. Okay, now we have this selected, and we can click on fill on new. We can click on fill on new layer, and this will fill this for us. And for some reason it is not working that good, so you need to have your color in the foreground. So this is not very consistent. I can debug this a bit, and just like that you have your bulge filled up, a bouncing ball. Now if we play this, now we can just set exposure to a different thing, like contours. I think I should have an action to make this on the two exposures by just clicking on it, and there you go. Wow. Okay, there we have it. Now if we just play this animation, let me just set this head right here. Now let's just extend these to the very end, and if we loop this and if we play this back, I'm not sure why the last frame isn't filled up. So yeah, that's what I was talking about. You cannot just stop this by clicking on this, you have to press escape. And no worries though, we can just click on fill a new layer. Let's reset them to single frame. Yeah, now it's fine. Now we can just extend the exposure. Yeah, now if we loop this, okay, now these are just simple labels as we've discussed before, and this is just a simple effect. Okay, so this is meant to be used with illustrations, so do not attempt to use it with any type of animation. Let's delete that. Let's grab the fill and separate from the rest of the stuff and delete these two, we don't want them. Okay, now we have just simple layers and we can extend the exposure of these. Let's say we have in group and we want to add a glow to them, so we can just click on this and it will add a glow. Yeah, just like that. So now we have glowing ball. Yeah, so that's the end of this video, and you can download all of these actions from the link in the description or from my Gumroad, which is the same link in my description, so there was no need to say that. And please write balls in my comments so I know that you've made this far, and I'll just go to sleep like peacefully. Subscribe for more if you like the video, and if you have any suggestions or ideas, please leave them below. And this is me signing out. Balls. Yep.